Hello and welcome to That Man. This is a manga related thing, even though we have merchandise on here, and we have our favourite worst characters on display this time, because hey, I thought we'll try something different. It's been a while since I've discussed manga, at least without it being some kind of top 10 or light novel related thing. And it's been even longer since I've discussed the stuff I've been reading. So I thought, why not do that? Let's talk about the things I've been reading. First up, we have Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World, Volume 11, The Archwizard's Little Sister. That's right, we have our favourite kill stealer return in this volume, and it's been a while. She hasn't been in since Volume 5. It is another Mega Man themed chapter, or volume we should say, but it's still got a lot of fun stuff. Kazuma is, he's really truly despicable in this one, as is normal with Kazuma, I suppose. It's nothing really new that we've kind of not seen before, but it is another great addition. One of the things I'm not a huge fan of is that Mega Man had a volume to her in volume 9. And she had a lot of focus in volume 10, whereas Aqua and Darkness have been kind of left to the wayside here. Considering we've had a few Mega Man spin-offs as well, I'm kind of like, could do with having a little bit more of the other two characters. Not that they're not in it, it's just that they're kind of not as relevant as Mega Man and her family are, which is a huge shame because these characters are great. We haven't had word on Volume 12 yet. Yen Press has been quite tight-lipped on more Konosuba stuff, which is quite worrying. In fact, I think a lot of the light novels are kind of like being delayed from once every 3 months to like once every 6 months now, which is like, it's a nightmare for me because nearly everything I'm caught up on isn't going to be coming out for quite some time. So this has given me plenty of time to look at my digital collection and try and catch up. Another series I've been trying to catch up on is Please Tell Me Darko China. I've only just started volume 4, but I read volumes 1 to 3 quite recently, and I picked up all of 1 to 5 because volume 3 went out of print. You can get volume 1 and volume 2, I believe, quite easily, but volume 3 went out of print, and volume 6 is due to come out sometime this year, so I was just like, oh, I do like this series, I just don't talk about it enough. It's awkward questions, I suppose that's what we'll call it. Awkward questions relating to things. It's a good laugh, and if you've never read it before, I would definitely check it out. Like I said, it is out of print. Some of the volumes are out of print, and with it being 7 Cs, I'm probably not going to get a further reprint, which is a huge shame. I don't like anything going out of print, but it's out on digital, so if you like the anime, I would definitely recommend checking out the manga at some point. The next manga we're talking about is Delicious in Dungeon Volume 8. I finally caught up to this one. I literally sat myself down and read all of the volumes I had, which I hadn't read, and caught up, and oh my god, this is such a fantastic series. It really dropped off for me around Volume 5, which I believe I mentioned in a previous one of these videos, but it's really managed to get itself caught back up. A lot of the characters are really good. There's a lot of really dark and interesting things going on with this world that they've built. I really like the new characters. I like this one and the other one here, the cat girl. They're both two great additions to the series, and they really made it improve, I would say. I really kind of feel like it's a lot more improved on than it was earlier on. I think it's because we're getting a lot of new focus on different characters. It's still giving us that whole food kind of thing. However, the food whole thing is kind of, it's not quite as focused on there. They're kind of like, we're maybe getting a meal every other chapter rather than like every chapter where it was just, let's eat things. There's a lot of more other things going on than just them going around a dungeon eating everything. I like it. I'm really impressed. I'm not sure how much else they're going to have with it. I'm kind of expecting at this point it's going to wrap itself up in maybe by volume 10 or 11, which I kind of feel that's how much it needs. It's one of those series that I'm really enjoying, but if it goes on for too long, I think it will be dragged out, and I did get that impression last time when they finished the previous arc in volume 4. But yeah, this is a great one. If you haven't read it already, I would definitely recommend checking it out if you like fantasy type titles. The next one is volume 14 of Silver Spoon. I'm not going to get too much into this one and get too bogged down because this one is one that we're pretty much near the end of it. and there's a lot of stuff in here that we're kind of getting from previous volumes. A lot of stuff's kind of focusing on the end goal now. There's only one volume after this, so it's a huge shame. In fact, volume 15 literally just came out in Japan a few weeks ago, so yeah, we're literally on top of that. The great title, absolutely fantastic, and like I've said previously, I recommend this one more than Full Metal Alchemists. I just enjoy it a lot more. There's a lot of great stuff. There's a lot of great comedy in here. There's a lot of great things that's been going on for quite some time, and we've kind of had a resolution to that. So there's like one or two moments in here where I was just like, oh, like tears were rolling down my eyes because I was so happy for the stuff that kind of happened. This is like stuff that's been building up since like volume 6 or 7. So yeah, we're getting like really big payoffs right now, and I'm really not looking forward to this one ending. I'm happy it's ending because I'm happy it's getting a resolution. I hate when series like don't look like they're ever going to end and we're just going to continue getting a new volume like once a year or something like that. But yeah, this one I'm really happy that it is ending, but I'm sad to see it go. It's been a really fantastic ride, and I would really recommend anybody who wants to check out a new series, definitely check out Silver Spoon. Over the last few weeks, I have been reading the Monogatari series. I've read Back in Monogatari Volume 1, Monster Tale. I've read Volume 3 of Monster Tale Back in Monogatari. And Volume 2 of Monster Tale Monogatari. Now, these are basically a trilogy of books. Originally, this was 2 books that they're split into 3. For the US release, but it doesn't mean that it's any worse. There's a lot of very interesting stuff in this. Honestly, I can't recommend this one more. It's one of those series that you've got to really stick with, otherwise you can easily drop it. I did originally. Years ago I read volumes 1 and 2 and I dropped it after that. However, volume 3 really does manage to wrap a lot of things up really nicely, and it's a huge, massive payoff. I love nearly all of the characters that we've got introduced in here because they're all down-to-earth real people with a kind of a supernatural element attached to it all. There's a lot of very difficult decisions having to be made along the series. I'm not going to spoil them, but anybody who's read these will absolutely 100% be behind me on this one. Back in Monogatari is something special. It's something that doesn't come along every day, and it is something that I would absolutely recommend to anybody who wants to get more out of a light novel. But I would absolutely 100% say stick with it. Read Keys in Monogatari, read the first 3 Back in Monogatari, and then decide from there, because don't drop it halfway through like I did, because I didn't want to come back to this for quite some time. In fact, I dropped it, and I really feel that I'm really happy that I did come back to it, because yeah, there's I'm really excited to get onto Nisei Monogatari or the Fake Tale and everything after that as well, because there's a lot of great stuff coming out. The only downside with this is that I feel like there's a lot of oomph in this. A lot of it is very much conversations, and in each volume you could probably get through the first 50 or 60 pages and you're kind of just like, yeah, I know who Mimi Yoshino is, I know who Shinobu is, I know these characters, you don't need to keep reintroducing them every single time. And it really feels like it does retread a lot of things over and over again, but it's not in a bad way. It's just kind of like, it kind of does drag in places, so be warned, I suppose. Going on to digital now, and the first title is Land of the Lustrous. Interesting title, very interesting, I'm not going to lie. It didn't really capture my attention. I watched the anime after that and I felt the anime was a bit of a better adaptation. I don't know why like in this one it's fine, there's nothing really wrong with it. I don't kind of like a lot of the backgrounds, and I kind of felt that there was a few times where I was reading, I was like, I couldn't even understand what was going on half the time. There's not really much to say about it. It's about gems who are trying to not get turned into jewellery by things that come from the moon. Yeah, it's a unique premise. I'll give it that. It's a very unique title. There's a lot of fighting and stuff like that in it, but I don't know. There's something was about it. I just kind of like, even after the anime, I was like, oh, I like this, but I didn't love it. I never really felt that I needed to go back to it. Kind of like Full Metal Alchemist. I kind of was just like, after finishing that, I was just like, yeah, that was fine. The anime, I don't know, it's obviously CG animation, but it felt very slow and janky, and while it does push the limits of CG anime, I don't know, it just didn't do much for me. I don't know why. I was just kind of like, everyone was just like, oh, it's a fantastic series, everyone should read it, but I was alright with it, I suppose. It wasn't bad, it just kind of, I was just plodding through it, I suppose. Next up is City. I actually read City volumes 1 to 7, and I read it in about like 3 or 4 nights because wow, this is a fun read. Kichi Arawi, as you guys already know, I recently picked up the Nichijou volumes, and I noticed City was on sale as of late, and I was just like, you know what, I'm going to pick them up. City is a story about a city and the inhabitants of the city and all of the crazy day-to-day things they do. It's pretty stupid. If you like Nichijou, and if you don't like Nichijou, well, yeah, you're probably not going to enjoy this. But hey, everybody likes Nichijou. Everybody. Maybe. But yeah, City is just more of that comedy goodness. There's a lot of fun in here. Volume 1 I felt was a lot easier to read than later on, just because it was just so easy to get into, and it introduces a lot of fun, stupid characters. Honestly, I really recommend it if you want something different. Next up is Infinite Dendogram Volume 2, The Beasts of Undeath. This was an interesting title. I picked up Volume 1 and 2 and 3 a few months ago as a bundle, and I read Volume 1 and absolutely loved it. Then Volume 2 came around and I didn't touch it for ages. I recently got a chance to read it, and you know what? It's fine. Main character is kind of okay. He's not like the best character, but I haven't read many light novels which take place in a virtual reality world, surprisingly. They're all like isekai or whatever. This is just a guy who goes into a online MMO, and it's online MMO stuff, except he can't tell the difference between what is fake and what is real, because it's all fake but the characters are real, and it's weird. Yeah, really underrated title. I don't really hear more people talking about it, and even when I was talking about it online, a few people were just like, yeah, I didn't really enjoy the anime was pretty terrible, but then everyone who's seen the read the light novel said the light novel was really good, so it's probably one of these other ones which had a really terrible anime, but the light novel is absolutely decent, and yeah, I thought it was decent, I enjoyed it. The next one was Vinland Saga Book 2. I'm trying to reread Vinland Saga because, hey, I read volumes 1 and 2 years ago and never got back to it. I've got 3 and 4 still to read, and yeah, this is, again, it's a fine series. I'm not really seeing at the moment, I mean, I've loved volume 1, but volume 2, the first half of it was good, then it kind of dropped off a little bit for me, but I'm going to keep with it because, hey, it's one of those titles that everybody, if you're a manga tuber, you don't have Vinland Saga, yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but everyone seems to own Vinland Saga. Yeah, like I said, it's fine. I don't really have any attachment to any of the characters so far, but I'm enjoying it as I'm going along. Like I said, I really enjoyed Volume 1. Volume 2 not as much, but I'm guessing it's going to pick up again because I know that there was a lot of stuff in Volume 3 and Volume 4, which is when I think a lot of people really get into it. And they've got a widescreen. Yes, look, it's got a widescreen because, hey, it's Vinland Saga on digital platform. Another title I read, which I don't hear many people talking about again, is Can You Just Die, My Darling? Yeah, this is a very graphic title, and one that I don't hear anybody talking about, which I think I've already said. I'm sure I'm repeating myself now. But yeah, this is where a young man falls in love with a girl, and a mysterious virus goes around and infects all these people. So the people who fall in love with someone, they start getting the urge to kill them, and they get superpowers, which is the thing that the person loves about them. So in this case, he wants to kill her, but they're madly in love, but she loves his eyes, so he gets super powerful eyesight. I read volumes 1 to 4, and yeah, it's quite a fun title. I say fun because it's very stabby and quite dark. But it's if you like your dark horror kind of titles, I would really recommend checking this one out, because it's another underrated title. I would probably say. Again, this, I don't know what it is. I mean, it's kind of like Vinland Saga. It's like, I'm liking it fine. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of great stuff. I'm not really invested in any of the characters, much like Vinland Saga. But yeah, I would definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't already. Once again, going into the realms of underrated, we've got The Witch's Printing Office, which is... I didn't know anything about this. I just assumed it was like a witch doing some kind of printing or something like that, doing like a post delivery service or something like that. It's not. It's basically Comiket in another world, and I was honestly surprised when I read this. It was a lot of fun. It's not going to be to everybody's tastes. It's not really like ecchi or anything like that, but if you've never been to a Comic Con, or if you've never been to Comiket or anything like that, you're probably not going to get as much enjoyment out of this. I was reading this on the weekend that a con was supposed to be on, and I really appreciated it, to be honest. It's fun. It's got stuff about the lines, how they're going to have to print different stuff. So basically, it's like all these doujinshi artists, but they're witches, and they're like, oh, this is a low class spell and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I would recommend checking it out if you've got nothing else better to be reading. You probably do, but yeah, I would recommend it. I'm going to try and do a bigger video on it once I've read a few more volumes. Next up is Gigant by the creator of Gantz and Inuyashiki, two series that I have not read. I've watched the Inuyashiki anime years ago, but never really got into them. This is my debut of reading these kind of series, I suppose. A lot of fun. I really enjoyed this one. To the point that I actually want to go back and pick up Gantz, but I just don't have the space, and it's not available digitally. Boo you, Dark Horse. Boo you. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It's a bit more ecchi, I suppose, than other titles. But yeah, go watch YouTube Shelf's video on this, or somebody else's, because they can put this into better words. I actually will cover this a little bit better once Volume 2's out. There just wasn't enough content for in Volume 1, I don't believe, to really give it a full review from me. But yeah, I enjoyed it, what I've seen so far. Really good artwork, really good plot, a really good plot. A lot of fun. Next up is My Youth Comedy Is Wrong As I Expected, Volume 2. Again, another title that... So, this one's interesting because I kind of enjoy it, but then I also come away like forgetting everything that happens in these volumes. This is number 2 on the My Anime list of light novels, and I'm not gonna lie, I genuinely can't see what people love about this one. If you've read it, please let me know in the comments what you love about it, because I'm just not seeing it at the moment. I did speak to somebody else online, and they said they only fell in love with it after Volume 3. I do have Volume 3, so I'm going to read it, but if it takes 3 volumes of a light novel, which is like, that's basically, what, a season worth of anime before you like it, to me, that's not something particularly great. But then again, I mean, I was the same with back in Monogatari, except that was kind of, I dropped that halfway through a volume, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, yeah, that's difficult. But yeah, I don't know what it is about this one. I just didn't, I liked it, but it's like coming off the back of another title which I will be covering next, and bottom tier character Tomozaki-kun, this one just didn't stand out to me. There's a lot of references, but it's like the referencing like older stuff like Scryed and like early stuff of One Piece, and I was just like, okay, yeah. I mean, I know this was written. This is quite an old series now, but again, it's kind of like, yeah, if you don't get these jokes, you're not going to understand a lot of the stuff references in here. To the point they've even got explain references at the end of the book. It was fine. Again, it was fine. I didn't really like any of the characters, to be honest. The main character is really a jerk. But yeah, there wasn't much I could kind of see about it because I kind of forgot everything that's happened in it so far. Not one of my favourites. Next up is Classroom of the Elite Volume 1. This is another one I've had for quite some time, and you know where I've just previously had a conversation about a character, about a series where I didn't really like the main character. This series is kind of similar. It takes place in another school. The misfits and stuff like that, which we're expecting in these light novels. But by God, I absolutely enjoyed this one. There was a ton of stuff I loved about it, and I really want to read more of it, except I'm waiting for it to be on sale on Bookwalker. I need that coin back. But Classroom of the Elite is a title that, yeah, it was just one I couldn't put down. If you've read Assassination Classroom, you might get a similar vibe from this, in that the characters they're kind of put into the reject kind of class, but there's a lot of interesting twists and turns, and they're kind of having to scrape out to become top dog kind of thing. All of the classes in there, rather than just one sulky main character who's just kind of a bit miserable. I really like the main character as well. There's some hidden stuff with him which you don't expect, which makes him a lot more interesting than you might originally think. I want to read a few more volumes of this before I really 100% recommend it, because yeah, there's a lot more to it. I will do a full review on this one along with a few other light novels in the near future. Finally, we're going to look at ESS Story. It's a One Piece light novel. Yeah, a One Piece light novel. I covered this one a little bit more in a separate video, but I thought I'd cover it again because, hey, I'm probably never going to talk about it. It's a One Piece light novel, and it's incredibly light. There's like 120 pages, which, yeah, it's really short for light novel standards. It's more character development for Ace, I guess. I wasn't huge on it. There wasn't really anything that kind of got me into this one, and I've kind of read it because it was One Piece. I don't think Ace is a particularly interesting character as he is, and yeah, this kind of didn't help me whatsoever. But it's fine. If you love Ace, you're going to enjoy it. These two characters weren't particularly interesting, neither was any of Ace's crew, which it focuses on. I kind of felt like it was a wasted opportunity, considering there's 2 volumes of this and 1 volume's less than half of a normal light novel. I kind of feel like they could have done a lot more. Well, that's it from me. What have you guys been reading over the past month? And I'm going to try and keep on top of these because, hey, I haven't really had the chance to keep on top of these because... Don't know why indeed. This has took me an hour and a half to record, because why not? But if you did like this, please consider leaving a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for coming, and thanks again for staying. Goodbye.